I'm very pleased to introduce our next speaker to you. Michael Miller has been doing our parent and family orientation for the last 4 years, and he does this at various colleges and universities all across the United States. And we always have rave reviews, and I hope that you take away a lot of information from him. So without further ado, Michael Miller.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning to you. Since we're going to be together just for a little bit of time today, I feel the need to disclose 3 things that will help you get me a little bit better. Number 1, I was born and raised in the Bronx in New York City. Thank you. Does anybody need to get anything off their chest about New Yorkers right now? This is a dangerous place in Connecticut because things start to shift. You know, the Red Sox people are around here. I am a Yankee fan, but I tell you I'm from New York really for 2 reasons. One, like most New Yorkers, I'm loud, and the more excited I get louder. They don't really hesitate and give me this microphone. If that volume offends your very polite Connecticut ways, please forgive me up front. Second, I betray my New Yorker and my Italian-American heritage. I talk with my hands, and it's distracting. So I'm actually begging your indulgence, if you don't mind, to put up with it. I know if you ever took a public speaking class, what do they tell you? You know, control your gestures. And I try, but I can't. If I keep my hands down, my heart rate goes up. So I'm serious, begging your indulgence. If you could put up with a little bit, it's distracting for me. I can imagine if you have to watch it. So give me a pass if you don't mind on that. Number 2, you can tell already, like a lot of energy and enthusiasm, right? Some of you like it. And others of you want to throw me under the freaking bus. Don't do that yet. Give me a shot. Let me tell you why. I have just a couple of ideas for you. Given my work, I travel about 240 nights a year at anywhere from 70 to 90 colleges and universities. I do have some perspective to offer you on what's going on and some things that work when working with your students. I offer them to you. It's not a lot of advice. Take it. I think it'll help you. So if you give me a shot, you'll find there'll be some good stuff in here that no matter where you are in your experience with your son or daughter, your family member going off to college, it'll be useful for you. So just give me a little chance. I promise you it'll add up in a moment. Last but not least, I would like this to be meaningful for you. How about you? Thank you for answering. When I ask questions to the audience, sometimes they just look at me. I promise you, if you ask me a question, I'll answer it. So I appreciate your response. Meaningful is an equation. It equals me plus you. So I need you to kind of come along with me with some of this stuff. So if you do that, this thing will go very quickly. So with that, I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me now. I'm going to ask you to think about the child, the person that's coming to college here, your family member, your student, your son or daughter, okay? It's a good moment, right? Congratulations. Yeah, I could tell from your reaction, yes, you're happy about this, right? It's what you wanted from the day they were born, right? Some of you have been saving from before they were born for this moment. You put the bottle in the mouth and wondered what kind of college you're going to go to, and all of a sudden, you blinked once, and here it is, right? So it's happy times, right? Yeah, but not so much all the time, right? I know. So that's what I want you to do for me. I want you to think for a second why in this moment, that is really a great moment in the history of your family, something sticks sometimes, right? When you think about it and you find yourself getting excited, you think about something that stops it a little bit. Maybe you don't know what I mean, like a distress about it, a distraction, a concern, a fear, a fright, if you will. If you don't know what I mean, let me give you an example. Your kid's been a good student, but they're going to major in math, and you're already freaking out about their course load. How's she going to do it? How's she going to do it, right? She works hard, but it's going to be hard, right? For others of you, it could be the moolah, right? You scraped it together, you did it, you found the cash for this year. They haven't even started yet, and you're worrying about next year. Am I going to have the money to get them through? Am I going to have the money? I'm looking for a part-time job already, right? To supplement your full-time work, right? Money on the mind already. For others of you, it has nothing to do with your son or daughter. It has to do with that little person that your son or daughter is dating right now, and you're just praying that Eastern is going to end that relationship, right? Whatever it is for you, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds just to think for me for a moment. Reflect. When you think about the kid coming to school, what's the thing that's on your mind? The thing that's not the exciting moment. Think for a second for me. I'll give you 30 seconds. I can't stand to wait 30 seconds. You have it? Okay, so this is the only time today, I think the only time today I'm going to ask you to do something I know you don't really want to do. I'm going to invite you to do this for me, please. In a moment, not yet, I'm going to ask you to get with a person you did not come here with. So if you're here as a couple or threesome or a foursome, you can be with another threesome or foursome. I don't care if it's 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, I don't care. I'm going to ask you just to do the following. Say hello to someone that you did not come here with and share your name, where you're from, the person who you're dropping off here, what they might study. That's all easy, right? Name, where you're from, what your kid's name is, and what they might study here. And by the way, if you get nervous because you don't know because they're undecided, that's the answer, undecided. That's fine. The last thing is, if you'd be so kind, just to share the thing that concerns you the most. What's the fear, the distress, the distraction, the small thing, the big thing that's on your mind about this? Now, here's the good news. If you do not like the person you get stuck saying hello to, I'm only giving you 1.5 minutes for this. So it will be over very quickly. Now, I know you don't want to do this, but watch how long it takes me to get you back once you start. Okay? So let's see who likes the icebreaker and who doesn't. So would you do that for me? Say hello, count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you talking to each other. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nobody likes the icebreaker, and I'm getting violence from some of you that I'm interrupting you. I know it's short. I'm just interested in staying on schedule. They want to murder me in the student activities office when I go overtime on this. But here's the good news. You're going to have lunch together. We provide lunch after the academic advising session, a chance to catch up with people again. So if you didn't get to finish, you can follow up with each other, and I hope that you do. Why? Why do I never ask you, today I get your students, by the way. I'm with them for about 1.5 hours this afternoon. Well, I never ask you to do anything that doesn't make sense. Why would I ask you to do this? Help me out. I share your fears, right. And so what, who cares? Thank you. Sister says it exactly right. We are not alone. There is a tendency, especially if this is your first child that is beginning their college experience, to feel like you're the only one that feels this way, and then you beat yourself up for feeling something that you think is silly. Chances are, if you did do what I asked you to do, you might have heard the same concern or fear from the other person. You're not alone in this. It's important that we feel that, so let's take a deep breath and just be together about it, okay? By the way, how many of you first child leaving at college or first student of yours? Okay, good, big number. How many of you second? Good, oh God, a lot of you. If you start to watch some first-time parents, you're seeing your future. They start to look a little more tired as it goes on. Who's 3 children in college? Oh my goodness. Anybody 4 in college right now? There she is. Give her a round of applause. You look fantastic, by the way, for that. We had one parent in one of the earlier sessions had 5 at one time. You have 5 now? And 3 in college, right? 2 in, right. This mom had 5 in college at the same time. Set of twins in a row. So crazy. But anyway, so you're not alone. That's the first thing. Second thing I want you to think about, if you have a concern, a distress, a fear, a distraction, small or large, you don't look it in the eye and acknowledge it for yourself, it will go away. That's the good news. But here's the bad news. In August, when it comes time to drop them off, that fear, concern, fright comes back. And when it comes back worse. So if you want the last week of August, when you're bringing them here, to be worse for you, just deny that you have a concern or a fear. If you look that fear in the eye, it will go, you will manage it. You're better than any concern or fear you have, and so is your kid, by the way. So you might want to talk to them about it. You might want to work it out for yourself, but spend some time getting rid of that. This is a really good moment in your life. Third reason I want you to get to know each other a little bit is, it's a small college, Eastern. That's why probably you're happy about your son or daughter coming here. They're going to get a lot of attention. And because of that, see these faces? These faces are the same faces you're going to see in August. Whether you're a commuting parent or a new student, a parent of a resident student, you're going to see these same faces at move-in. You're going to see these same faces at family day. You're going to see these same faces at graduation. So you're part of the Eastern thing. You might as well start to get to know each other. The other thing is that for a select few of you, take a look at each other right now. Look at the people. Look at each other. I'd like you to say hello to Thanksgiving 2020. In-laws? Yeah, because your little beauties are going to get together. Any college sweethearts? Any college sweethearts here right now? Yeah, okay, there they are, right? So somewhere at some college, you sat in an orientation somewhere, and you had no idea that you would be showing up together with a baby who's now in college. This afternoon, when I'm with your kids, I say there are two of you in this room that will have a baby together. And you'll be glad to know they freeze and freak, and it gets very quiet. And I say, not tonight. And not until you finish college and there's some kind of a job and then a ceremony that puts you together. They laugh at that. You'll be glad to know. But this is a wonderful time of potential. We don't know what's going to happen. It's probably all going to be some really good stuff. So I hope that you take a minute and feel good about it. Congratulations. You know what? You did it. Successful. They're going to college. It's fabulous. And you've been very busy, right? Oh, no. Don't smile politely. You've been very busy carting them around, getting them to travel soccer, going to their games, getting them to lessons, taking them to music, making sure the school system gave them everything they were entitled to. Oh, yes. And you have been very criticized about this, yes? Have you heard? Oh, you don't know? Some of you looking at me, smiling politely. Helicopter parents, they're talking about you, the most overparented generation of American students in the history of our country. You. And you've been criticized, right? And I'm going to do the same thing, right? And I'm going to tell you, you better let go. Let go. That's what they're all telling you, right? How do you let go? How do you let go of your child? You don't. It's all a bunch of malarkey. But there's some good things about your kids. The research told us this before they even got to college. As they started to watch how you were raising your kids, there are some problems, and we're going to talk about the problems. We're going to talk about the good stuff now. First of all, your children, they predicted, and it has borne out, are more likely to vote and more likely to run for student government offices on campus than the last generation of college students to come through. Interesting. And by the way, they told us this before they got here, and when they got here, it happened almost overnight. We saw a whole shift in student leadership, student engagement on those kinds of things, right? Second thing, you probably noticed your son or daughter has an interest in the environment. It is not part of a movement. They are not going to burn a building down because, the water is polluted. What they do is small personal things, right? So when they might take an hour-long shower, right? But you might notice they get really pissed at you when you put the can in the wrong recycling thing, or you put the paper in the wrong thing, or you run the water too long. It's very interesting. The environment is very personal to them. They express their concern about nature or the environment being green in very personal ways. It's very part of their kind of fabric. The third thing, and this is very interesting, they're more likely to believe that institutions in society, police, fire, emergency service, are going to help them. They actually have a very abiding faith that the structures in society work for them and will help them if they need it, more than the last generation they came through. I wonder why that is. You know, right? Because the person in their life where they develop their trust for anything that's supposed to work is you, and you followed through. So therefore, they expect other adult types to follow through for them too. Pretty nice about you, right? So you've been very involved, and you've been very connected, and you've been very in their business and in their life. My question is, what are you gonna do now? Oh, I don't know if you know this. You're not involved. Oh, you might be paying for it, but you're not involved. What are you gonna do? I know, and that's a frightening thing to think about, right? Because you know no one's calling you anymore. You know when they don't do well on the calculus test, the professor's not calling you. What are you gonna do? This is what we're gonna talk about very quickly for the rest of our time together. There's 4 things that I want you to think about doing. And the best part of the 4 things is that they kind of amount to E, C, S, and U. Each one starts with E, C, S, or U, Eastern Connecticut State University, so it'll be easy for you to remember. But I want you to think about your relationship with this kid as an adult, and you to think about ways to get in with them in a different environment that can keep you in the position you want to be in, that being to help them, to support them, to help their success, but to do less and to get more. That's right. I'm inviting you today to think about your relationship with your child by doing less. When's the last time anybody invited you to do less? But get more out of your kid and get more out of Eastern. I promise you. So we're going to talk about that really quickly. And the way we're going to do this is going to be very easy. You're going to help me, and you're going to help me by reaching underneath yourself. No. That's a different session and one that I don't lead. By reaching underneath your seat. If you reach under your seat, you may find an envelope. And for that envelope, you will receive a prize when they arrive. There are prizes coming, and I will make good on my promise. If you find an envelope under your chair, you will receive a prize. And one of the 4 envelopes, so I see 1 already. If you check the empty one, I see 2, I see 3, I see 4. We got them. Thank you for checking. Basically, all you're going to have to do is read a word, and when the prizes arrive, I know that they're on their way, you will receive a prize from me. So if you have the letter E, would you open it up for me? Who has E? The letter E. Whoa, thanks, brother. Do you mind? What does it say? Ears. His little slip says ears. So what am I advising you to do? Oh, yeah, and you're thinking, listen. I've been listening. They pay this guy to come in here and tell us to listen. I've been listening for 18 years. How much more can I listen? Let me ask you this on your right here. Be it 25 minutes or 2 hours and 25 minutes, who talked more? I know, yes, I know. I know that you talked more. Right? And I'm advising you to think about using these in a different way. See, you've been involved and you've been there. Now you're not going to have all the information. And for you to get the information you need, your listening skills become more important. Give you an example of this. I was working at a beautiful college here in Connecticut. I was a staff member. I get a phone call from a parent. My secretary says, Michael, it's a parent on the phone. Now, when you call the university, notice how I'm saying when you call the university. Let me ask you this. Of those of you that went to college, how many of your parents called the college you went to? Show me. Hands. I know. How many of you, and tell the truth, plan on calling this university when your kid has a problem? Show me the hands. I know. Things have changed. Right? And those of you that didn't raise your hand, you're lying to me, and I know it. Not all of you. So I get a call, and I need you to know, when you work at a university, and especially I know the people that work at Eastern, when you call, it's a serious thing, because it's very rare that a parent is calling to say, hey, how are you? How you doing? So the father, she transferred me through. It's a father, and he says, hello, Mr. Miller. I met you during orientation. You said that if there was ever a problem, we could call you. I said, of course. How can I help you? He says, well, I'm concerned about my son, Matt. Matt's not doing very well. He's not connecting. I don't know what it is. He doesn't seem happy. I said, tell me more. He goes, I'm concerned that he's not making any friends. He's not getting along that well with his roommates. He's just seems disconnected. I don't know what it is. He just doesn't seem to know a lot of people. It's bad. I said, I'm sorry about that. I said, anything else that, you can tell me? He goes, well, he's coming home every weekend and we live 5 hours away. It's killing me. So I'm like, freshmen can't have cars at this college. I'm like, how's he getting home every weekend, sir? And he goes, well, I'm picking him up. So I'm like, I got two problems on my hands here, but we'll deal with the first one. I said, help me out. I said, sir, what can I do? What do you think I could do to help, He says, well, I was hoping you could do the following, I know you're connected to a lot of students in your office. I was hoping, now please listen to this. He says, I was hoping you could introduce him around to some of the guys. I want you to think about this. Think about your son or daughter. Could you imagine if I went up to your son or daughter tonight and said, Mom wanted me to introduce you around to some of the girls? That kid would call you in 20 seconds and say, are you freaking crazy? So I know this is not gonna work because I know college students. So I say, sir, tell me what he's into. Like, what does he like to do? So the father says, oh, he's really into computers. He's a computer science major. He loves video games, Xbox, crazy about that, spends a lot of his time on this. I said, all right. I said, I have an idea. Instead of me introducing him around, I said, what if I hook him up with the president of the gaming club, the video game club? I said, how would that work? I said, and I'll get him to introduce him to some of the members, people with a like interest, something that they're all into. I said, how does that work for you? He goes, oh, that's great. That's a great idea. I said, good, I'll take care of this. I said, but, I need to know your last name. And he says, I don't want to give it to you. So I said, well, we have a lot of Matts on this campus. I said, I don't know how I'm going to find the right one. So he laughs and he gives me his name. For our purposes, we'll use Smith. And he says, and I said, all right. He said, can you do me a favor, Mr. Miller? I said, whatever you like. He says, could you call me and let me know how it goes? I'm like, absolutely. So the next morning I come to work, I call this kid 7:30 in the morning because I know I have to get him when he's a little off kilter. So I'm going to wake him up, and I'm doing this intentionally, right? So I dial the number. I hear, hello. I said, good morning. Matt, please. He goes, this is Matt. I said, hey, Matt, Michael Miller from the Student Center. I said, I need to see you today. Now, please know I know exactly what I'm doing because you know that we have no control over your son or daughter when they come to college. Don't tell them that, right? But we have no control. We can't force them to do anything, right? We have very little control over them. They're adults now, right? But here's what I know. Early in the freshman year, especially in October, the time that I'm calling this kid, he still thinks of it like high school. So when I'm calling, it's like the principal saying, you have to come to my office. And I know this, by the way. I'm not above using that because in the spring, I'll have to do different things to get them to my office. So I said, I need to see you today. Are you free at noontime? Do you eat lunch in the dining hall? He says, yes. I said, do you know where our offices are? He says, yes. I said, I need to see you at noon. He says, okay. I said, you come at noon? He goes, yes. Not happy. I said, you're not going to blow me off, are you? He goes, no. I said, thank you. Can't wait to see you at noon. Bye. Click. At noontime, my secretary says, he's here. And he's not happy. And I love a challenge. So I'm like, okay, don't worry. I said, I'll open the door. So I opened the door. I said, Matt, come in. And he comes into my office like that. And he's got the Jimmy leg. You know this? So, my observation skills are so sterling. I say, Matt, you seem upset. And he goes, so I said, are you upset with me? And he goes, and I said, now, I know that he's upset, but I'm willing to take a bullet for you, but not the whole bullet. So I'm like, are you upset with anyone else? And he goes, I said, who? He goes, my father. He's the reason I'm here, right? And I go like this. So I said, come on, your dad loves you. He's only concerned about you. You're not going to be in here very long. I said, just need to ask you a couple of questions and find out how things are going. Sit down. So he softens and he sits down. I said, what's going on? He goes, I don't know. He goes, I'm just not loving it here. I said, your parents are very concerned. He goes, I know. I don't know why my mom and dad are freaking out so much about this. I've told them what's going on. Now, he says he told them, but I know you're kidding. You do too. They say they told you, but they really didn't tell you. So I say, Matt, try it out on me. Tell me what's going on. See if I understand, right? So he goes, yeah. He says, listen, I'm a computer science major. I know now that I don't want to be a computer science major. I want to be a computer graphics major. I want to do graphic design for animation. He said, we don't offer that program here. So I told my parents in May, I'm transferring, I'm leaving. I said, okay, now, I don't know about you. Your kid wants to study something that Eastern doesn't offer. It's a good reason to consider going elsewhere. Now, I don't want your kids to leave Eastern, but if they want to study something we don't have, that's a pretty good thing to think about, right? Second thing, so I said, what else? He goes, the kids are nice here. I like them, but they party really hard. I'm not into it. Like, I'm not into that on the weekend. They're really nice, and they don't do anything bad, he said, but I just don't want to do what they're doing. I haven't found, like, stuff to do on the weekend that I like. They party really hard, and I'm not into it. Okay, surprising for a 17, 18-year-old to be articulating that way to me. So I'm like, okay, I get that. He goes, and last, he says, Mr. Miller, I'm feeling homesick. I'll be honest with you. It feels really far away. My family's 5 hours away. I feel really far away. I'm going to transfer somewhere that's a little bit closer. All right, so now I'm thinking to myself, very articulate for an 18-year-old, enumerating his points. I understand them all clearly. Now I'm confused, because what is it that the father doesn't understand? He keeps saying, I don't understand why I don't understand. I understand why. The kid understands why. So I'm like this. I said, Matt, you're going to stay here, though. It's October. You're going to stay here till May, and you think you're not going to have one friend? I said, you think your father's going to drive you home every weekend? I said, you got to do something if you think you're going to stick it out. I said, don't you need to have some friends and some people and some good stuff going on while you're here at least? And he goes, yeah. I said, will you meet with the president of the video game club? I said, he's waiting. He'll take you to lunch. He'll introduce you to some of the guys in the group. And, you could see if you connect that way. He doesn't want to, but, old guy, he's being nice because I'll meet with him. I said, good. So I send him out, and I call the father back. Hey, Mr. Smith, it's Michael Miller. What happened? I said, he's a fine young man. I said, I'm a little confused. He goes, what are you confused about? I said, you told me you don't understand what's going on. Let me ask you, did he tell you this? And I told him the three things the kid tells me. And the father goes, oh, that. Yeah, he told me that. So I say, well, Mr. Smith, then I don't understand what it is that you don't understand. I said, right. He goes, we don't understand, his mother and I. We don't understand. We would have given our right arm to go to a college like that and have that experience, and we don't understand why he's not loving it. Well, what's the problem here? He doesn't love his son? No. He doesn't care for his son? No. He doesn't think college is important for his kid? No. Not listening to the child. And by the way, please now realize you've done everything to make this happen, but this is their experience. And if you want to be in the pole position of advising them and getting them through to their degree, you got to hear the information they're telling you and respond accordingly. The student has more information than you do. Right now, what am I telling you? Yes, you've been doing more talking. You have to teach your kids things. Right? To learn the lesson, you have to tell them, and then yell at them, and then tell them again, and then they get it, right? Times have changed. Now you need to listen, because here's the thing. The things they tell you, I'm not concerned about, because you will listen to those things, right? When they tell you something's not working or that they're unhappy about something, you can deal with that. You can help them. It's the things they don't tell you about that I want you to pay attention to. When you talk to them when they're away at college and they're not mentioning their roommate for 3 or 4 phone calls, that's a problem. But if you're not listening, you're going to miss that. You're not hearing about that, right? Because that's the time that you got to ask about it. It's the things they're not telling you that if you're not listening, you're going to miss. The things they tell you, you're going to hear, right? So to stay in that pole position, to keep them where you want them, right? To be in that position to help them, you got to be using these ears in a different way than perhaps you've been doing that now. Make sense to you? Okay, where's the C? Let us see. Who's got it? Lady, what does it say? She said, consider responses. She pays $20,000 a year, and her present, a soup bowl, because that's about all you're going to be able to afford to eat after this. I have yours, sir. I'll give it to you in a minute. She said, consider responses, right? So I want you to think about this. I want you to consider your response to your kid. Question for you. When your kid screws up, does something wrong, makes a mistake, do they know how you're going to react? Have they ever played you a little bit, like kind of couched the information to bring about a different reaction from you? They have, by the way, and why do they do that? Because it's 18 years of you living with them. They know what to expect when they screw up, yes? They know what you're going to do, right? I'm asking you to consider how you respond to things. It might be time to change it up. Let me tell you about my little mother. I have a mother, my mother she's 5'2". She's dark-skinned Italian Sicilian lady, right? When she was young, jet black hair, my mother, right? She's small, she's squat, she's fiery, very passionate, yells about everything. How much she loves me, what we're having for dinner, and when she's mad, right? She marries my father, 6'2", blonde hair, blue eyes, a New York City cop, okay? Quiet, directive, in charge, okay? Very striking couple they are, and they have 3 sons. My father, a cop and not a cryptic man. He told us what to do, and we didn't really have a choice. We did it, right? Not a lot of philosophical messages coming from my father. Not a lot of messages from beyond with this guy. My mother a little bit, not my father. My cousin is going to college. We're at a barbecue at my aunt's house. I'm sitting on my dad's lap. I'm 10 years old. She's talking about going away to school, and my father whispers in my ear, "You're the only one of your brothers that's going to go to college. And I fear that I'm not going to be around to see it." And he kisses me on the cheek, right? So I threw my arms around my dad's neck. That's a heavy thing to say to a kid, especially when you're not used to these kinds of messages. I threw my arms around his neck. I said, "Dad, don't say that. That's terrible." And I kissed him back. And I'm sorry to tell you that he was right. When I was 12, my father died, and he left my mother with 3 teenage boys. And I was the youngest of the 3. And he was also right. Of the 3 of us, I was the only one that went to college. My brothers found other ways, right? And my mother somehow found a way, just like you, to send me to the college I wanted to go to. And I wasn't smart like your kids. I didn't pick the State University of New York where I lived. I picked a very private, very expensive college in southwestern Connecticut. And my mother was going to make this happen for me. Right? And to this day, I tell you, I don't know how she did it, right? When I was a kid, I didn't know how she did it, right? How is she going to pay this, right? I was worried about it then, but she told me, your job is to get accepted, and my job is to pay for it. And I know she probably didn't buy a pair of shoes or a dress for the 4 years I was in college, right? I know that. Unless you don't know whether your kid knows what you're going through, they'll realize it someday, and hopefully somewhere at a college somewhere, they'll talk about you the way I'm talking about my mother, right? But it works. I get into this school, she finds the money somehow, and I go. And it's a smash success. I love it, and it seems to love me. I finished my freshman year with a 2.8. Not wonderful, but certainly not unrespectable. It's certainly not embarrassing, right? Freshman year is hard, right? So I go back to school for my sophomore year. I'm 19 years old, 20 years old. I'm ready. I join everything. I'm on the radio station. I'm on the student government. I'm on the dorm council in my residence hall. I am a co-director of the tour guides for admissions, and I get the lead in the theater company of the. I know I did some theater. You're shocked about it, right? But I get the lead in the play. And by the way, when you're the lead in the show, they practice. It's not like in high school. They don't take the whole semester to do the show. In 6 weeks, start to finish, it's up and it goes, right? So you practice every night from 6 to 10 o'clock. My prime study time. Now, like most 19, 20-year-olds, I'm ignoring the feedback I'm getting. My grades are coming in, and they are not good. But you know what? I'm an optimist. Things always work out. It'll work out. I'm a good guy. It's all going to happen for me. I finish the semester. I come home. I get my grades. Now, by the way, you know the grades, they come to your student? You know this? Like when the official mailing of the grades happens, they'll know their grades beforehand from online stuff, but you know the grades don't get mailed to you even though you pay. They get mailed to them. You have the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, the Buckley Amendment of 1974, FERPA, to thank for that. So the grades get mailed to me. My mother is off working to pay my tuition when the grades come. I open the envelope. It's not good. It's a D, 3 C's, and a B minus. My worst grades in the history of my schooling. So what do? Put the grades back in the envelope, fold them up, put them in my underwear drawer, and pray that she's not doing the laundry anytime soon, right? A couple of days later, my mother, no fool, she says, "Michael, how did you do this semester?" And I went like this, "Okay." She went, "You got your grades?" And I went, "Yeah." And she said, "Oh, can I see them?" Now, I thought of invoking FERPA, but my mother would have none of that. So I said, "Okay." And I go up the stairs, and what do I know? I know that when she sees the numbers, she is gonna scream at me. No. I'm gonna get a first-class rant that will not stop. So what do I say to myself? Don't say a word. Don't defend yourself. Don't throw anything on top of this because it's like gasoline on a fire. She's gonna scream me down. Your job is to take it. Let her yell and yell and yell and yell. Then she'll get tired. She'll go in the kitchen and she'll make me lasagna, and that will be it. And I won't have to deal with this, right? So I go up the stairs, I get the grades out of the drawer, I come back down the stairs. I admit to you, honestly, I shivered like a rabbit because I knew the screaming that was gonna ensue now. I get before her, now I'm a man, 20 years old. I hand my mother the grades, and I'm ready, feet are planted, because she's gonna sandblast me. She opens the grades, she opens the fold, she looks, she folds them back, she puts them back in, she hands them to me, and she looks me in the eye with no passive aggressiveness. Is that the best you could do? So what do? Instead of acting like a 20-year-old man, I act like a high school sophomore, and I say, yeah, Ma, that's the best I could do. She looks me in the eye and she says, no, I know that you're a good student, you always have been, and I know that you study. Michael, is this the best you could do? I'm asking you. So what do? In front of my mother, 20-year-old man, I cry. And why do I cry? Because I know why I'm crying, because my mother is working her behind off to send me to this expensive school, and I'm not holding up my end of the deal, right? That's why I'm crying. And she says to me, okay now, stop crying, she says. Go back to school and do your best. That's all your father and I have ever asked of you. And you think about it, how many times have you said it to your kids, right? From the time they're 3 years old, do your best, just do your best. Don't get so upset, just do your best, right? And you know when I heard it for the first time? When I was 20 years old. I need you to know when I went back to school, I heard it every time I was gonna do something that was gonna take me materially away from doing my best, doing my academic work. I heard her raspy Bronx voice in my ear saying, just do your best, Michael, right? And you know what? I was on the dean's list every semester thereafter, finishing in my final semester with an 18 credit 4.0. I was on the dean's list every semester after that. I graduated with well over a B GPA. Thank you very much. Let me ask you this, though. Who won? Who won, my mother or me? Both of us won, right? Who won? We both did. She wanted me to do my best. I did the best I could with the rest of it, right? 20 years old and learned the lesson she tried to teach me my whole life. Why? Because she changed it up. Had she done what I was used to, it would have gone the way I planned. She would have yelled me down. We would have eaten the lasagna. The next thing I know, I would have been joining more stuff. My grades would have been the same thing they were. She would have not caused me to think about it at all had she done what she always did. What does this mean for you? Think about changing your response now. Remember, she threw me off, right? And when she threw me off, she had me right where she wanted me. I want the same for you. Right? So if you've been all over your kid, harassing, haranguing, been on top, been in the middle of it, get on top of them, watch what happens when they bring you something and you say, well, tell me how you're going to figure it out. They will flip out. And by the way, in that dissonance, you got them. So now they're all ears. Now they're not rolling their eyes anymore because they can't believe that you're reacting this way, right? Same is true in the inverse. Like you maybe have that independent kid. You haven't had to do much. You know, you've been permissive with them and it's worked for you, right? Watch what happens when you flip out on them. Watch. You got them right where you want them because they will be so stunned that you'll get them because they think they know you. Show them you got some tricks up your sleeve and watch the good that can come of that, okay? Who's got the C? E-C, the S, yes. Sister says support. Support. Now you're excited, right? Because you think this is your chance to do something. Right now we can support them. Now we can be involved, right? Now I can get on top of this. Now I can do things. I want you to think about this. It's happened, you know. Do you know that this has happened? Do you know what's happened? Did you hear? If you don't believe me, go to Newsweek or the Wall Street Journal. Do you know what's happened? Thank you, by the way. Do you know what's happened? A mother went with her college graduate daughter on a job interview at IBM, and try to get in at the end of the day into the benefits meeting. Support? Nuts. Is this what you want? No, so I'll translate it to you. You know how you've been helping them with their papers, you've been reading them, helping them edit them? You still gonna do this with your college-age child? Let me ask you this, when are they gonna learn to edit their own paper? You still are gonna wanna be doing this? I think you're nuts if you do. Let them learn it. Use the first floor of the library, right? Support means support, right? They're gonna have problems that emerge. There are gonna be problems, by the way. Everyone's smiling at you like this, right? There's gonna be problems, right? Let me give you an example. Bursar's gonna call your son or daughter. Your son or daughter is gonna ignore their phone call. Then the bursar's gonna call them again, and now they're gonna get nervous. And who are they gonna call? The bursar? No, they're gonna call you. And you are gonna wanna support them and be there. And you're gonna call the bursar for them, right? And you're gonna be a little annoyed when you call the bursar, because why are you bothering my son or daughter? And when you hear the nice lady in the bursar tell you what the problem is, now you're gonna be annoyed at your son or daughter. So now you're gonna hang up with the bursar and call your son or daughter back, right? And then your son or daughter is gonna tell you something, you're gonna call the bursar back, right? And then the bursar's gonna tell you, okay, you're in Danbury. Who's the middleman in this scenario? Is it your son or daughter, you, or the bursar? You are. Extricate, extricate, extricate. Get yourself out of it. Make a deal with me now. Support your kid by not supporting them so much, okay? You hear about the bursar? Tell them to go to the bursar's office the first time. Make a deal with yourself. Every problem they encounter the first time, let them go to the office and handle it before you do. Let me tell you what happens. What's gonna happen is they're gonna go over there, and the lady, let's pretend her name is Rose, is gonna be very nice generally to your son or daughter. And they're gonna solve the problem on their own, because generally when they call the student, it's something minor, right? When your student solves that problem with the bursar the first time, they will never bother you again about a bursar phone call. And little by little, they'll never bother you again. Right, now, there's gonna be times when you have to be involved. It's a financial aid thing, and they don't know your income, or they don't know the information, they don't know your social security number, they don't know this, then you're gonna have to be involved in that. That's fine. First time, they'll find that out and they'll say, you have to call them, they want you to call them. Good, now you're welcome. You know the institution is not gonna be as nice to you the first time. They want to talk to your child. They want to talk to the adult, the person who's responsible. In certain cases, they cannot legally share information with you, and they will not, it's illegal, right? So, help out by helping out less, right? Who are you helping out more in the end? This is what I mean by doing less. If they learn to navigate Little Eastern, you know what they're gonna learn to navigate later? The cell phone company. Doesn't your son or daughter deserve the pleasure of dealing with the cable company on their own? Right? But if you think about it, if they learn to navigate Eastern, then they learn to navigate their grad school, bothering you less and less, taking more responsibility more and more. The best part is there's always a safety net. Because in the end, one way or another, you'll find out. When they don't pay their bill, when they don't do their thing, it'll eventually come to you. So we have a safety net here. Now, please know I'm excluding two things. I'm excluding health and wellness, and I'm excluding safety. Like if you get a phone call from your son or daughter and you feel like something's wrong, and you're concerned in the moment, pick up that phone and call somebody and get that kid the help you think they need. Nobody knows your baby better than you. So I'm telling you, health and wellness, mental, physical health, you hear something that's odd, get on top of it. We will help that. That will sound, all of the at-risk things will go into place to help you. But for the small things, the day-to-day things, the administrative things, let them handle it. And instead of you helping them with calculus, send them to the first floor of the library. It's paid for already. Get out of it. Let them take care of it. Yes? Last but not least, where is my wonderful, wonderful you? What does it say? It says understand. There are three things as we end this session that I want you to think about understanding. And for me to make sense of this for you, three things that I want you to understand. I need a person who's worked in the same office building, same office space for 12 or more years. Where are you, person? You have. May I talk to you? You worked at, right, so the same place. You go for 12 years? 14 freaking years to the same place. Good, I want to ask you a question. When do you go back there? Okay, in September, how would you feel? Listen to this. 14 years going to the same place, right? I send a van to your house when you go to go to work in September. And when you come out of your house, you're about to go to your car, and you're like, oh, I said, no, 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 no. And I'm smiling at you like this. Come on. I'm going to take you to your new building. Come on. Best years of your life are ahead. Come on. And I put you in that van, and I drive you 20 miles in the opposite direction. And I point to your new building. And I open the door, and when you come out, there are a bunch of people in blue shirts smiling at you like this. And I go, there you go. There you have it. Best years of your life. How you feeling? Yeah, you know why you're not feeling good? Because, in your old building, did you know where to go and get lunch? Did you know where to run some errands, quick errands when you're on your way home? Yeah. Did you know where the toilet was? Oh, yeah. In the new place, you don't know any of that. Is this ringing a bell for anybody? 12 years, 13 years, they go to the same school system. They know everybody. Now we're all like this with them. Right? Right? Can we empathize a little bit? Can we understand why they were a bitch to you? Because you know what? They don't know where the toilet is. And tonight they're sleeping 5 feet away from a stranger. If that does not bring the runs on, I don't know what would. But what are we doing to them? All of us, me included, like this. Right? You know why they were that way, bitche? You know why they're that way? Because they don't have skills yet, right? Most 17-years, now you may have one that is like this. It's the rare gem among the teenagers. 17, 18-year-old kid generally doesn't say to their father or mother, gee, Mom, Dad, I know I've been a little persnickety lately. And really, it's because I'm having separation anxiety issues. And I want to make you proud. And I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do what I need to do in college. And you know what? I'm afraid of leaving our house. And I'm afraid of leaving our family, even though I'm rotten all the time lately. And I really hope that you'll put up with me during these turbulent times, Mom. They don't do it. That's what that behavior is saying. And we have to understand that. We have to empathize with them, right? And what do? We make it worse. Best years of your life. Best 4 years of your life. Best years of your life, right? It's true, though. Those of us who went to college probably will say college was some of the best 4 years of our life. But the thing that we forget is that's in retrospect. Going through college, there are lots of problems and troubles. So why would we put that extra pressure on them already to make it the best 4 years of your life? Let's let that happen for them as it happens for us, right? So empathize with them, what it must feel like to change up. This is the reason for the strange behavior lately, all right? The other thing I want you to understand is time, okay? It's the 5 S's of time. 3 of them involve your student at school, and 2 involve them when they come home. Sleep, study, socialize. Everything will change for your son or daughter when they come to college. And by the way, if your kid is commuting, it changes for them too. Everything will skew later. Everything. They will sleep later, even if they're a morning baby. They will sleep later than they did at home. They will study at later hours than they did. And they will socialize later than they do in their town where they're from. Here's the good news. The good news is for sleep and socialize, you're going to call them and you're going to say, when they're going to say, I can't talk to you now. It's 10:30 at night. I'm studying. You're going to say, you're not studying at 10:30 at night. They are. They're in a study group and they can't talk to you, right? Because one of the kids in their group is an athlete and got back from their contest at 8:30, had to shower, eat something, and meet with them at that hour. So they are doing these things at 10:30. To socialize, the party breaks out because everybody's here, right? Sad to say, your son or daughter will go on a road trip. They're going to go visit their little buddy at Boston College at 2 o'clock in the morning. Here's the best news for you. You won't know about it. Okay? So sleep, study, socialize. It's fine. It all skews late, okay? Here's the time thing, though, when it impacts you. The last 2 S's. When they stop by at home, meaning stopping by for breaks, right? And the siblings. Let's just talk about this quickly. When they stop by at home, and it is like a stop by because they'll only come home for a few days at a time, if you don't book first with them, you're not going to see them. I'm telling you, you want to be a savvy college parent, Because of Facebook and because of social media and because of texting, their friends are all coming home at the same time. And they're all going to realize it. Around the second week of November, the Thanksgiving planning will start. You should book first. I'm telling you on your way home now, tell them Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, when you come home, you do not go out, you are with us. Put your foot down, because they will book every minute other than the turkey time to be with their friends. Because it's not that they don't want to see you, they get booked up, because everybody comes home when they do. All right, so that's when they stop by, pay attention to that. And the second piece to that is the siblings report. If you have younger siblings, they really feel badly when their big brother or big sister, even if they don't get along that well, it changes when the big brother or big sister is away. When they come home and they don't see them, there's no time together, they will tell you after the kid leaves, see, I didn't even see him. And then you're going to feel terrible. Book first with your kid. The other piece to this is, and this is the only advice I'm going to give you today, when they come home, you're going to be getting ready to go to bed. This is like over the holiday break, to go to work, to pay the tuition. Your son or daughter at 11:30, as you're saying goodnight, is going to go to grab the car keys. And you're going to say, where are you going? And they're going to say, I'm going down this road to see Joanne. And you're going to say, no, you're not. And they're going to go, I do this when I'm at college. If I had $1 for every time there was a fight about what the kid does at college that you don't expect them to do at home, I wouldn't have to work next year. So let me tell you something. You want a curfew when they're home? You want rules? It's your house. The thing, though, you have to do is you have to be explicit with them about it. You got to tell them up front. It's a good thing to talk about now, okay? So get in that with them. You have a right to sleep and not stay up all night worrying where they are. If that's how you feel about it, it's your house. But they have to know. Avoid the fight. Talk about the curfew and the timing when they come home, before they come home. It'll avoid then the fight. Think about it, all right? Good? So sleep, study, socialize when they're at school, time changes, stopping by, and siblings. Worry about that when they're home. Book now for Thanksgiving, I'm telling you. All right, last but not least, understand what? Understand this is a magic moment. It is a beautiful moment. Congratulations again. It's so good. Think about this. Think about what you dreamt for the kid. They're coming to a great school. You're going to really be pleased with Eastern. They're going to be really pleased with Eastern, as most of the students are. You know, in the United States, do you know what percentage of 18-year-olds that finish high school go to college? 60%. We're very blessed in this country. We have access to higher education, right? 60%. Now, they all don't finish. Only about 36% finish, but not at Eastern. Those other schools in Connecticut don't finish. Worldwide, what's the percentage? Worldwide, 18-year-olds finish secondary school, go to college? 2%. If you're not appreciating this moment, I'm asking you now to please stop and feel good about this. You're helping your child to afford something that a minor percentage of people in the world have access to. It's a beautiful moment for you, and it's a beautiful moment for them, and you did it. So congratulations. Whatever happens, I want you to remember 3 things. First of all, no matter how they act, they need you. I'm telling you, they need you, even though they're not acting like it, some of them right now, right? Number 2, the research is clear. More than any of the previous generation of college students that have come through, they list you as either their best friend or their hero. More than any other generation, they respect you. Even though they don't act like it, that's who they value. And last but not least, they always, always, always love you. And the greatest thrill for us, those of us that work on the campuses and work with your kids, is when they are confronted with challenges and problems. The vast majority of them, 99% of them, behave the way you would want them to. Show their values that you raised them with. But the best part of all of it is you're not watching. They're their own. So congratulations, and make the most of this very happy time in your family's life. Thank you so much.